Today we're going to talk about how to tell better stories in your business and why people like Gary Vee, Chris Do, and Seth Godin all think it is one of the most important tools for any business. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Lucas. We do videos on how to grow your business with storytelling and video. And today we're going to break down how to make stories work for your business. Story is essentially the essence of branding and marketing. If you don't know how to tell good stories, you can't attract anyone to your business. Don't take my word for it. Here's what Gary Vee has to say about it.
The number one tool of success is storytelling. If you can't storytell, you can't win. It's not going to be interesting.
If Gary Vee wasn't enough, here's Chris Do.
We are hardwired as human beings to fall in love with stories. And that's because as humans, we want to learn the lessons without actually having to suffer ourselves.
And why don't we chuck in Seth Godin as well?
So our job is anyone who wants to make change, because that's what marketers do. Our job is to tell a story that resonates with the people who are hearing it.
All these guys talk so highly of story because they realize it is the most effective way to get people to care about your business or about your brand. The cool thing is there's many different ways to tell stories, and if you're not good at one, you might be good at the other. So here's a few ways. There's the written word, so that's blogs, articles, books, writing copy. Then there's audio, so you can do that in podcasts and radio. Then there's images, so that's photos, memes, and posts. You could also tell stories in conversation when you're chatting to people and networking. But the most effective way, yes, you guessed it, is through video, because you actually get all of that in one. You get visual, audio, you can use music, you can use images, all in video. But just because video is proven to have the best results doesn't mean that other ways of telling stories aren't important. The core of what makes a good video is understanding how to tell a good story. So let's talk about how to do that. So first, to understand how to tell good stories in your business, you have to realize that there are two types of stories that we can tell. The two types are fiction and non-fiction. So non-fiction is stuff like your personal journey, how you got to where you are, personal stories or anecdotes from day-to-day life, other people's stories, their journey, or your client testimonials, so their story about how you've helped them. These are all non-fiction stories that are based in real life. Then there's fiction. And this is just made up stories. Most people tend to lead to non-fiction because it's real and it feels like something really honest that you're sharing, and it's really easy to draw from real life experiences. When they're good, they can be very persuasive, but the issue is non-fiction stories are finite. You can't come up with them at any point. They have to happen for you to be able to tell them. That means you can run out of true stories. You can run out of non-fiction stories. The other thing is you can't control the plot. So they're only as emotional as how they happened in real life. But when you don't have them, or if you've run out of them, that's when fiction becomes really important to nail. Learning how to come up with stories, use your imagination, because you can tell these kinds of stories whenever you want. Fiction stories are infinite. There's as many as your imagination can think up, and you can control the plot and therefore design what kind of impact, emotionally speaking, these stories can have. So we want to use both, but I want to teach you how to use fiction stories really well. So stories are powerful when they have ups and downs, when you take someone on an emotional roller coaster. Humans love stories because they get to live vicariously through someone else. They get to experience someone else's journey as if they lived it themselves. Stories are all about change and about transformation, and we get to experience that. We put ourselves in the character's shoes, we put ourselves in the story, and therefore we experience the transformation as well. When you take someone on your roller coaster ride, when you bring them in to your business to care about what you care about and give them that transformation, that's what sets apart a good business from a great one. I want to give you an example of how to get better at storytelling. So I'm going to show you a video that we just made for a company called Wealth of Advice. And I'm just going to show you the beginning minute of that video because we used his story in a way to capture his target audience. Keep this in mind when you watch this 1 minute video. By telling his story with a hook, an emotional roller coaster, and engaging their emotions, we put ourselves in the story and we think about how this affects our life and what action we should take. Have a watch.
22nd of October 2014. This was another normal day. I got on my bike. Literally before my next turn to get to work, a minute away, there was a green light and there was another car. Didn't see me coming behind the truck. I T-boned him and actually flew for 30 meters. I was devastated. I wasn't sure what had happened. How am I going to let my family know? Thankfully, I only broke a couple of fingers, but because it was a few fingers in both hands, I actually wasn't able to work. And I thought I was insured. My understanding was that you get $400 a day for as long as you're unable to go to work. But it was actually if you were hospitalized or stuck to a bed. I actually lost 4 months worth of my income. Had it been I was not going to be able to work for years, then it would have made a significant impact on me.
Okay, so how can you apply this to your business? This is a non-fiction story. This is actually what happened. But all you need to do to come up with a story or to think of a story that will work is this. Think about your target market. Think about your ideal customer. What are they thinking about right now? What are they doing right now? What are their goals and what are their pain points? If you can create a story about a person who has those same goals, who wants to achieve something, and then take it away, make it impossible for that person to get it, and double down on that pain point. Make the audience feel how horrible it is not to have that. Then introduce you into the story. Show them how your business could help that character, could actually unlock transformation for that character. And sometimes you don't need to even add yourself to the story. If you can just show someone's journey of transformation in a way that aligns with how your business helps people, whatever it is you do, if you can just share a story without an agenda as well, that is also super powerful. You could think of some stories as just a conversation, but when you do want to call them to action, storytelling is the best way to bring them on that journey and lead them to your business. So that's the framework for how you can come up with a story and a character and something that's worth telling. Now here's how to tell it. So for stories to work, they need to have conflict. They need to have, you want something, but you can't get it. So to start telling a story, you need to relate to your audience by talking about a character wanting something that they can relate to. Pixar is always a great example of this. So Toy Story starts out with Woody wanting to be Andy's favorite toy, but Buzz shows up and takes his spot. So now we actually care about what is Woody gonna do about it. Let's use Finding Nemo as well. So we have Marlin, who's set up to want to protect his son and keep him safe because he lost all his other children. He wants to keep this son safe, but then his son gets taken away by divers and he has to go find him. Or Monsters Inc. I love Monsters Inc. Sully wants to be the top scarer in the monster world, but then the title could be taken away from him because Boo crashes onto the scene and now he has this whole other problem to deal with. So think about what kind of conflict your ideal customers are having, your ideal client, and figure out a creative way. Maybe it's a little bit abstract as well. You could even put this in a different story world. That always gets a bit more interesting when they feel like it's outside of the box of their regular life. So you could tell a story about a superhero or an alien or a toy that talks, anything like that, as long as it's the same goal that your target audience has. So stories just pull people in and give them a reason to listen to you, a reason to care. And when they see or hear or read your stories, they're gonna feel so connected to you and your brand. They're gonna understand how you can help them. So I encourage you to start implementing this into your business. Pick your favorite way to write or create a story and start there. If this video helped you out, leave a like or drop a comment and hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.